Williams, whatever you want.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, Mr. Johnny Betts, thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We had a little chance to talk a few minutes before we started the camera rolling. You got your hands in some cool stuff here in Salt Lake. Photography, music, recording now. You're doing the stuff at the Republican, which is awesome. I really kind of wanted to dive into that, talk about community a little bit, what that means to you, what music means to you. You started playing when you were 12. Did you start playing when you were 12 or wrote your first song when you were 12?
No, I started playing guitar when I was 12.
Okay.
My parents actually made myself and all my siblings take piano from the time we were about 5 to 10. So
nice.
So I started on piano.
All right. So talk to me about everything that's going on with you, man.
Well, currently, between working full time and balancing a family and recording projects and photography, I stay busy.
Yeah.
But that's how I find I stay out of trouble as well.
Sure.
Is trying to stay busy.
That's how we stay creative, I think, too.
Indeed, and I'm prone to like depression or kind of just this melancholy attitude if I'm not creating.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of relationships, so any way I'm involved with, I like creating with others as well.
Sure.
Almost more than myself. So, but yeah, finishing an album. I'm really excited about it. It's gonna, I think, it'll probably be the first time I've put out a lot of music and been in a lot of bands throughout the years. But this is the first time I feel like this is going to represent me in the state that I'm in right now.
Cool.
And even though it's songs that were written a long time ago, it's interesting how our lives and minds kind of cycle back and things. So,
well, I think even like songs that I've written, years and years ago, I can listen to now and like either rewrite them or they mean something totally different to me now, or I reconnect with them. And really, really cool.
Yeah.
So what's it called?
The name of the album is There Are No A-Sides.
Okay.
So kind of the idea that just simply, the A-side is considered like the better, or the pristine, the side you would give the radio station if you're doing a pressing on vinyl, and or it's where you put your supposedly better songs.
Sure.
For me, there is no like, these are all my rough, just broken kind of like, they might be really shitty to some people, but this is just me putting it out there. And
this is your Wilco, A Ghost Is Born album.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah.
There are no A-sides. My brother might be designing some of the artwork for the album, and so I may even do something where it's literally like a mirrored.
Does your brother do the flyers for the Republican?
Yeah,
yeah,
my brother.
Really cool.
So it may even like identical for the vinyl kind of release, and then so and I think if I did my next album would be There Are Only B-sides. So
right.
But anyways, sorry.
I like that though. I don't like the idea of writing a polished song or writing something that that is going to be poppy or catchy or hooky or whatever you want to call it. I prefer music. If I listen to it, I like for it to come from an honest place or a place that you don't really care other than it's all for you a lot of times. And I think that if it's honest music, if it's music that you're writing, that's how it should be. It's your feelings, it's your vulnerability or
right.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge though. I'm a very I spent 15 years at least of my life, not till I was 15, but like from the time I was probably 18 to 30, really battling over pleasing people.
Sure.
And so musically, like that's always a struggle. You want everyone to love what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
So this time though, I want it to sonically be there, but I'm definitely not gonna please everyone on the song level, and I'm probably gonna offend some people. So I'm okay with that now.
Yeah.
Like I guess that's what it comes down to.
Cool.
I want to do it the best I can, but be as real as I can doing it.
So we were talking about your studio and your purpose behind the studio and what you hope for it to become, and so I kind of wanted you to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, so the studio has a kind of a stage in it, which is neat because that it gives it this really neat atmosphere and the place to not just track but also to do live performances.
Yeah.
And I set up my mixing monitors in an array hung from the ceiling so that you can, when I'm mixing, I move a desk that I intentionally extended cables so you can sit there in the middle of the room and mix, and it sounds
nice.
really awesome.
Yeah.
And then it's designed to, I set it right to the side
Mm-hmm.
and where the equipment is, and then I could fit probably 20 people in there
Oh,
for
wow.
a little,
For
live
like a house show.
performance. Yeah. And it's completely encased in wood, and I would just love to see, people in it.
Go by Johnny Betts.
Yeah, Betts is my middle name,
Okay.
and so the reason I go, two reasons, but Cowan is a fairly common Scottish name. And so if you were to Google Johnny Cowan or John Cowan, you will always get this guy that's on iTunes,
Okay.
and he's gonna show up first.
It's not you.
He's not me. He's
Okay.
some old kind of faux country singer, faux actor kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not particularly great, not terrible, but that's not the name that I want coming up when you
Right.
search me. So Johnny Betts is my middle name. Frankly, that rolls off the tongue better
totally
anyways.
does,
It sounds better. And it's my middle name, and it's my father's middle name, and it's my grandfather's middle name. I'm the third, so
Okay.
Betts is a kind of a family name,
Nice.
and so I'm not insulting my family by changing my last name. It's
Right.
just literally my middle name. So, yeah. So Johnny Betts. So if you search Johnny Betts, my website is going to be the first thing that'll come
Your
up.
music pops
Yeah,
up.
yeah. So I'm going to keep it at that.
Nice.
Yeah. Betts.
Yeah.
So.
So you do some photography. Now you've been in like Slug Magazine and any other publications here in Salt Lake?
Done some projects for a number of nonprofits. So
Yeah.
Slug is probably the only printed publication, other than some marketing tools for
Right.
some of these other organizations. But yeah, actually, Slug it's been a fun kind of. I only got into photography 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Never even owned a camera before that. And,
Really? Got a good eye for it, man. Like.
Well, thanks. And it's funny because my older brother, the one who does the art,
Mm-hmm.
he went to school for photography. He's an amazing photographer.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those things where music was always my thing, photography was his thing. He fell out of it, frankly. Like he just he was raised analog, so
Right.
for him to maintain film and everything just was difficult. But he still just. I always wanted to take pictures like him.
Yeah.
And there was two things so I did. So I guess I lied. I did have a camera when I was like 20.
Right.
Bought a Kodak, and at the time I think it was like $500, which was a lot of money to spend
Sure.
for me, not knowing what I was doing. But every picture was just shitty,
Yeah.
and so I couldn't tell if my composition was good or bad or anything. Everything looked bad. No offense against Kodak, but it just
Right.
was like whatever was. It just low megapixels, and who knows, certainly our phones are much better than that was. And anyway, so I just really wanted to capture my family and some things, and I worked with some great artists and had talked to somebody. So somebody mentioned, it's all about the lens, and if you don't have a good lens,
Yeah.
then no picture is going to look good, even if you capture it properly.
Right.
So they recommended a $100 lens and said, why don't you try getting this camera with this $100 lens? It's going to take beautiful pictures, and if you find you enjoy it, that's at least going to capture what
Right.
you're looking for. So I did that, and then I was like, holy shit, I love this.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoyed it. So and then Slug's been fun. I've been in 8 or 9. I've been with Slug for about a year. I've been in about 10 other magazines.
Wow.
But
And is it just local bands that you're shooting? Or?
no, it's lifestyle, so it's kind of whatever they want.
Okay.
So I've done everything from like festivals, get-togethers, special events, fundraisers, bands, and then one thing I enjoyed when I first got into it, before I was doing anything for Slug or whatever, was I would go to shows and just shoot bands.
Okay.
For fun and free, and then I would just ask for their email, and I'd say, hey, I'm just going to send some pictures to you.
Yeah.
And people really liked that because I remember when one of my bands I was in, playing around town, you're just playing around a bar, and if a photographer came up and was like, hey, I took some pictures, give me your email,
Yeah.
or at that time it was like, hey, I'm going to send you a CD. And so, it's just great to have somebody take pictures.
Yeah, it's fucking rad. The pictures you took of us, the Republican, are phenomenal.
Oh, awesome.
And you've
Thanks.
probably seen we use them all the time.
Oh,
So
that's great.
yeah, no,
I love
it's
seeing it.
great, man. So
You know, it's funny because Charles Ellsworth still uses a bunch of my pictures.
Yeah.
And Carson and his profile picture is my picture right now.
it's awesome.
And I'm like, it's just fun. Like,
Yeah.
And I took that picture 4 years ago, and you know, somebody's using it.
I love those guys.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
do too. Charles was one of the first musicians I met here.
Here in Salt Lake?
Yeah,
Oh,
when
very
he
cool.
first started playing guitar. We met at a party randomly, and yeah, and then actually I met him through a mutual friend later, and then we kind of started a friendship then.
Well, cool, man. I'm excited to get you over here in the closet.
Right on.
If you're ready for it,
Yeah.
thank you
do
so
it.
much, Johnny
Yeah,
Betts.
Awesome.
All right,
Thanks. Yeah. How deep the lily pad grows. What's seen on the surface is not what's below. And I take for granted how little I know, how deep it goes. I lay my hand on my children's head in hopes that their dreams will help them forget. And I pretend to be strong, lest my neighbor suspects how deep it goes. Sing low, sweet chariot, it came and took her home. And I'm trailing behind her like I'm chasing this drink. Though I know she's in heaven, drinking fine wine or champagne, in the presence of Jesus, in the presence of grace. The ground is still soft where her body lies, and I just sold the bookshelf with our picture inside. I remember her best when I start to forget how deep it goes.